Guest. His name is Joe Wisdom. Karibu tena to Full Circle with Joyce.
Thank you.
Great
Joyce.
to have you. And today we want to talk about wisdom for wealth. Last time we were talking about wisdom for relationships.
Yes.
Today, this is what we're going to be discussing here on our Full Circle with Joyce book club. And I'm excited to dive into this today. So, wisdom for wealth. And this is money and the spirit. You call it a spirit of wealth. And obviously, you know, you're a believer, so this is written with the understanding of faith as well. Yeah, maybe we can just begin by sort of looking at what does God say about money and wealth? Yeah. Is that something He desires for us?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Thank you, Jace, for having me once again. Good morning, and grateful even to come and talk about wealth and the kingdom dimension of wealth. And God desires that all of us be stable financially. And when we talk about wealth in a kingdom way, it basically means that what is the view? What is the kingdom view of God in terms of wealth? And God and Jesus Christ also largely talked about money. Remember, Jesus himself in his cabinet had an accountant. Mm-hmm. Actually, he had people like Matthew who were tax collectors. Their background were background that there were people who dealt with money. So that tells you that Jesus was also able to mobilize finances for his ministry. That's why you find even the Bible says that even Judas, as an accountant, he could think like this oil was supposed to be sold and we get money because money is needed everywhere. Actually, the Bible says that money answers all things. Mm-hmm. If you need to serve God, you need money. A gift is not just enough to serve God. So God requires us to serve him with our own abilities and with our substance, with what we have, with our resources. So again, when you also look at God, people who really served God, people like Abraham from the beginning, were influential people who are known in the marketplace. Right. People who are influential, people, someone like Isaac. The Bible says that he was very prosperous. People like Job were people who are influential in terms of resources. So God wants every one of us to be successful and to be financially stable. Yes.
Well said. All right. So let's talk about wisdom and wealth. How do the two come together and how do they work together?
All right. We say that wisdom is quick to direct. In every business, you need wisdom to make the right decisions. Mm-hmm. Because it is only in business that you can lose millions within a second. Yeah. Just a decision. You make an ill decision and you are gone. Mm-hmm. So you require wisdom, which is the application of knowledge. Mm-hmm. Wisdom is actually application of knowledge. Mm-hmm. Applying your knowledge correctly. So in the marketplace, you realize that there's a lot of information. And I want to appreciate Kaberia, who has spoken so powerfully here about passion. Yeah. And you realize that everything needs control. You need wisdom. You need wisdom even to know how to invest. Mm-hmm. In part of this book, we are talking about where are people financially bound? Where do people struggle financially? One of them is wrong decisions, wrong businesses, wrong investment.
Just kind of following the crowd and not applying wisdom.
Thank you. Lack of wisdom. Yeah. We say that you are either wise or otherwise.
Ati?
You are either wise or otherwise.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you are not wise in your decisions when you are doing business, you will become the most frustrated person in the marketplace. And God wants us to dominate in the marketplace. And if you dominate in the marketplace, then you must find yourself selling the right product. Because not everyone is wired to sell everything. No one is called Joyce to be the alpha and omega in the marketplace. Selling everything in general and nothing in particular.
These are some very loaded quotes.
You're supposed to be very particular in what you're selling.
Everything and nothing in particular does not count. Yeah. We need to be targeted.
Yes.
Wow.
Actually, Zig Ziglar who once said that many people live out there as wandering generalities when you're supposed to be a meaningful specific. Mm-hmm. You must be, when you narrow down to something, you are able even to get the details of it. Yeah. You are able to get the expertise. You are able to become a consultant on a particular area.
Yeah. Wow. In your book, actually, this should be chapter 9. And one of the other reasons that you've talked about why people struggle financially. So there's the one you've mentioned, wrong businesses, wrong investments would be related to that. There's also responsibility overload, for some people. But there's also laziness.
Yes.
And just explain that one, because I think most people feel like they're not lazy when they're looking for money.
Actually, one characteristic of laziness is that lazy people will never admit that they are lazy. So that is the first characteristics of a lazy person. When you ask a lazy person whether they are lazy, they will tell you no. So definitely just know that that person is lazy.
Wow. And you have a quote here. I can read it as you look for what you're looking for. You say here, lazy people will always try to justify why things cannot be done.
Yes.
They're quick to find excuses why something is not possible. And the Bible talks a lot about this, actually. Proverbs 18 verse 9 says, a lazy person is as bad as someone who destroys things.
Yes.
Yani kuketi tu is
tu
as bad as kwaribu.
Yes.
Why?
It's very dangerous to have a lazy person around you.
Oh, no.
But it's also good to have one lazy person. At least in your life, ensure that you have one lazy person. I usually advise organizations, as you employ people, make sure that you employ one very lazy person.
Why?
You know why? A lazy person will always find the shortest way of doing something. So if you want something to be done very quickly, look for a lazy person.
Hopefully they do
Shortcuts.
it well as well. In addition to that. But very interesting. You say here, lazy people love their beds. They like doing everything in the bed, even if they're not necessarily sleeping. Reading in the bed, praying in the bed. They're always attached to their beds. Wow. Okay. So laziness clearly is a tremendous vice as far as us actually being able to attain wealth. You continue here to say that they don't finish what they begin.
Yes.
They're fond of leaving gaps, unfinished deals. They begin businesses and abandon them within no time. Very good in starting projects, but lack the finishing power, and they give up so easily. Wow. Just talk to
Lazy
us
people are gifted people. It's only that they don't, like we have said, they don't finish what they begin. They have no staying power. They want, a lazy person would want to be rich very quickly. And that is why lazy people are the people who will be given into skins. Because they want someone who is telling them, bring 100,000 and in 2 weeks you'll have 200,000. A lazy person will see that as an opportunity. Why? They don't want to work. Actually, they say that a lazy person is wiser in his own thinking than 10 men who can answer sensibly.
Wow.
So a lazy person is someone who will not listen, who will not want to read. Kaberi have just said that if you want to excel in life, you must read.
Yeah.
You must seek information. You must do your homework. So a lazy person want to, and that is also one way of why people struggle financially. They want to jump into something they have not understood. I say, don't invest in it if you don't understand it. The fact that it's a good deal, sometimes unaweza angukia, sometimes you can just have a deal and you make your money, but not always. Many people who have lost huge sums of money are people who jumped into good ideas without revelation, without knowledge.
Wow.
And that is one character of a lazy person. They don't want to listen. Actually, they are too lazy to think. Let me tell you something. There's a research that was done by Harvard University some times back. And they say that the problem we have in Africa is that 85% of the population are people who would rather die than think.
Where?
85%. Afadhali uniue na sifikiri. People don't want to think. Now 10% are people who think they are thinking, but they are not thinking.
Kiarani. Oi.
Yes.
They think they are thinking. Wacha niseme music huko. They think they are thinking.
Yes, but they are not thinking.
But they are not actually thinking.
Let me give you an example. Have you ever been in a place and you ask someone a question and they are scratching their hand? Only to them, what do you have to say? And they say, I have forgotten. Or they have nothing to say. They think they were thinking, but they were not thinking. The people, the shakers and the movers of the economies of the world, 5%.
Wow.
The movers of the economies. People who are making things happen. So people are jumping into things because others are getting into it. And one characteristics of money here, one feature of money, is that money is shy.
Oh.
Money is shy. Money is very shy. Never line up for money. When money see you standing on it like this, it will flee away.
Wow.
Actually, it says that money has wings. It is shy. That is why you see a good project begin, not just as a scheme, but a good way of making money. But when people begin lining up for it,
it always poromokas.
Thank you. Things that have gone out away with people's money were good projects. Those people are brilliant. Those were brilliant ideas. But when people began lining up for money,
wow,
money just goes.
That is a deep revelation right there.
Have you ever gone to a bank and you realize that people who bank hundreds and little thousand queue, they stand like zigzags. People who do millions and hundreds of thousands, they sit because money is shy. You cannot keep standing for money. It has feelings.
Joe Wisdom. Sawa. We still have another like 20 minutes, I think, to go with him. I cannot wait to get into the rest of this discussion. And if you want to win yourself a copy of this book, all I'm going to ask you is to just drop me a line or two of what you've learned from him so far, okay? And it needs to be something that he's spoken about. 22999 is the SMS line. You can also comment on social media at Switch TV Kenya, and you could be walking away with this book right here. I think this is certainly worth everyone's read. I'm super excited to dive into the rest of this conversation, and we'll be back after this. Hey guys, welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce. I'm here with Joe Wisdom having a great conversation. Yani, if you've not been watching the show today, I don't know what you're doing with your life, because the nuggets of truth and wisdom that we've been dropping today, I feel like my Monday is off to a really great start, and I hope it is for you guys as well. I'd love to hear from you. 22999, by the way, is the SMS line. I even have a book giveaway going on, and so I'll be sampling a few of those SMSs as we go through the show. But before I do that, I want us to talk about, there's something here you have in chapter 3. It's called, the chapter is about understanding money. And you talk about the features of money, you talk about transforming your mind to the next level, but you also talk about this thing you're calling a financial compass.
Yes.
Tell us what that is. What is a financial compass? Does everybody have it? Am I supposed to have it?
Yeah, now what we say about financial compass is that for you to grow your wealth, you must first understand where you are. For you to get to your destination, you must stand on the right side of the highway. So you cannot stand on the wrong side and expect to get to where you're going. But when you're on the right side, at least you can even get a lift. You know, so when we talk about financial compass, it's just identifying where am I financially. And I can tell you, Joyce, that in finances, there are people who are, I've divided into three.
Okay.
There are people who are in Egypt financially.
Okay.
Egypt is a place of not enough. Some of these people are employed. But they look like they're in slavery.
Yeah.
They are not enjoying what they do. They feel like they are being punished to work. Some of them are in business, but they even feel like, I wish I had not started this business.
Wow.
You know, there's a way you can do something. I remember at some point, I had a car and the car had mechanical issues, and sometimes I could just watch people who are walking and desire, I wish I was walking. Because my problem is this car. I wish I didn't have this car.
And yet someone else is crying to God for a car.
You see?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that there are people who are in business, but they desire, because that business have gotten them into debts.
Okay.
They have lost friends.
Okay.
So Egypt is a place of not enough.
Okay.
You will never have enough of anything.
All right.
And if you can allow me, we can look at some characteristics, some signs of people who are in Egypt financially.
Okay.
These are people who have to work to eat.
Wow. Let's do it very quickly so
Yes.
we can also get to some of the
people
SMSs.
who are, if you don't work, you don't eat. That is the life of Egypt. That is how in Egypt life was. People had to work to eat. Another thing is that people, their salary is their harvest.
Meaning?
Now, when they get their harvest, they eat all of it. They have nothing to save. They have nothing to be, there's nothing that will be left. And these people also don't enjoy what they do. They have nothing to show for their labor.
Wow.
Those are people who are in Egypt.
I see here they have pending bills.
Yes.
They have no time for personal growth.
Yes.
They have a victim mentality. They are always the most affected by the, there are people by this since, forget Corona, since 2019, they've just been saying, economy in Empire, economy in Empire.
They keep complaining.
Yeah.
They complain about work. They blame everybody in life. They can blame everybody else except themselves. It's very dangerous to be in Egypt.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. The other place is, this is the wilderness.
Yes.
And you say that this is the place of just enough.
Yes.
So we've moved from not enough to just enough.
Just enough. Wilderness is a place where God gave people manna. They didn't need to work a lot, but they were getting what they needed. But again, you could not save manna. If you saved manna, it went bad.
Right.
So these are people who just get just enough. They can have a car, they can have a beautiful family, but if you call them for a wedding committee, just if in case somebody dies in between the month, they'll make noise. Kwa nini huyo mtu anakufa saa hii? Kwa nini hakukufa wakati tulipata mshahara? Kwa nini hakungojea? Because they have nothing to give. They keep complaining also. Their budget, actually, some few visitors in the house can cause a tsunami. They are tight budgeters. In the wilderness is a dangerous place again.
Hakuna chai, ukunywe maji.
Yes. Actually, if you visit them right after they have eaten, you have to understand. Please understand. Tumekula tu sahi. So that is being in the wilderness.
Okay.
Just enough, a place of just enough.
Okay.
You don't look like you have a lot of trouble, but again, you don't have surplus.
Right. Yeah. So at least, okay, you're not in trouble, but you also can't live life and enjoy it in its fullness. All right. And then there's Canaan.
Yes.
Na hii Canaan tumesikia sifa nyingi.
Hii Canaan bado tunaenda. And this morning we are praying, and I'm praying that every one of us get into Canaan. Canaan is a place of more than enough.
Wow.
Canaan is a place of more than enough. These are people who are financially stable. These are people who are secure in what they are doing. You remember Canaan, they were told that you live in houses you did not build. Do you know what that means? That you have the purchasing power.
Yeah.
You don't need to build. You can buy.
Wow.
You can purchase.
Wow.
You will eat vines that you never planted.
Wow.
This you have a muscle at this point.
Yeah.
So Canaan is a good place for every one of us. And it is a desire that when you get to Canaan, you can now even develop multiple financial streams. You are not just depending on one line. You are not just depending on one source. You are in a place where you can plant, you can layer. You know, Canaan is a place where there is a flow of milk and honey. So there is beekeeping, because for you to have honey, you have to do beekeeping. There is milk, so there is dairy farming. You can drink milk.
Yeah.
But again, now you need now to work.
Yeah.
This is a place where you work.
And it's important that you're emphasizing that, because I think people have this idea that when you're wealthy, you just sit back. No, it's the reason Bill Gates has not retired.
Yes.
Warren Buffett is not retired. Even Mark Zuckerberg, if you want a younger example, he's still working. So sure, they're able to have some time for play, but we get so caught up in looking at someone's vacation and thinking that that is their life throughout the year. No, you have to keep working. You have to keep building.
Actually, unfortunately, you realize that lazy people struggle a lot with sleep. One of the, if you want to know where you are headed, look at the hours that you sleep. Actually, anyone, and I want to speak to a viewer this morning.
Okay.
Anyone that fights in the bed, any blanket that covers a man after 4 a.m. are blankets of poverty.
Where?
Proverbs 6:10, little sleep, little slumber, little folding of hands, and your poverty will strike in like an armed robber.
Wow.
So any blanket that covers a man after 4 a.m. are blankets of poverty. So the more duvets you have on yourself after 4 a.m., the more you sink into poverty.
Wow. That's amazing. Okay, I'd love to know what you guys are thinking about this conversation. In fact, let me sample a few SMSs before I dive into some other things I want to talk about, specifically to those of you who are employed, but also about monetizing your passion, which will
Yes.
follow very well with our previous conversation there with Kaberia
Yeah.
Bairu. Someone here, okay, where are my SMSs? All right, here we go. Someone here is saying, good morning, Joyce. I'm Sylvia. Today's devotion was powerful. Abraham's faith is something we all need to look forward to achieving. What I have learned from the Wisdom for Wealth segment is that I need to research before making any investment so that I have good understanding of what I get into. Lazy people lose money because they don't read and research. All right, thank you for that. Marianne has said, I have learned that money has wings, and also that if you aren't wise, you're otherwise. I'm really enjoying the show and the nuggets of wisdom y'all are sharing today. Thank you for that. Alice Duta from Maima, who says, today's conversation is very interesting. What I have learned from the book is you have to plan for your finances and growth is inevitable. Okay. Someone here says, for sure, I'm touched by the speaker. I'm one of the Kenyans who has started a number of businesses but never finished them. I have failed in more than five of them. Oh dear. Okay. But you liked the message that more than 80% we don't think the rich sit well, the ones who make a few thousands stand zigzag. For sure, I think I need that book. Thank you for that. Good morning, Joyce. I'm watching Full Circle with you and loving the conversation on wisdom and wealth with Joe. Learning a lot. So money is shy, huh? And they're saying, Ati, we shouldn't line up for it. 85% is a really big number, alarming even. Research is important. That's Daniel Nganga watching from Utawala. Wow. Keep your feedback coming into 22999. I also have Jennifer here who's tuned in from Kenyatta Road. You say, Joe, wisdom there with lots of information, learning a lot. Hey, now make her like 5 points. Number 1, money is shy. You can never line up for it. It flees. Number 2, it's either one is wise or otherwise. Number 3, a lazy person is as bad as a destructive one, according to Proverbs. Number 4, only 5% of people make the movers and the shakers of the world's economy. I really hope I get that gift. I love reading and hoping for myself, hoping to find yourself in the world of business with time. Asante sana. Hey, I think Jennifer deserves a copy. Yeah, Jennifer. Oh, this one, I'm going to award you this one. So your number starts with 0700, ends with 024. That's Jennifer. You texted in at about 9:21. You are one of our winners today. Joe is very generous. He's come with 3 copies to give away. So don't worry if you've not won one just yet. There's still 2 copies to give out. A couple more here before I dive back into our conversation. Someone here is saying, laziness is connected to bed. Lazy people never agree that they are lazy. Thank you so much to you guys. Keep your feedback coming into 22999. Right. Now, I want us to talk about employment.
Yes.
And just you have an entire chapter here on the law of employment, because the truth is, as much as many of us want to be in business, not all of us really have this. I really do believe there's an entrepreneurial spirit. There are people who, since they were in class 2, they were already selling sweets to their, it just comes very naturally to them, and that's okay. But there seems to be a humongous pressure in the world for all of us to be like that.
To be in business.
And I'm not saying, stay in employment your whole life and only do that.
Yeah.
But could it be that some of us are supposed to be employed?
Actually, what happens with employment, one of the things that I tell people is that everyone is in business. Never allow anyone to lie to you that you are not in business. You are either in your own business or someone else's business. So at the end of the day, you are in business. So, and people feel that they are not wired for business. Which business are you talking about? If you are employed, that is someone's business, so you are in business. If you are a salesman, you are selling other people's goods. So at the end of the day, you are in business. Now, but there are people who don't have there are people who cannot play number 1. There are people who are very good playing number 2. There's one of my mentors called Mr. Mbudi, keep telling me that is good to know yourself. There are people who will only do their best if they are being led. So they are very excellent. They are career people, But when they jump into business, they lose their money, they lose their savings. So it's good to identify your abilities and your niche. It's very good for every one of us to identify what you call your USP. What is your unique selling point? You know, people like Daniel were not in business, but they served 4 kings.
Wow.
Yeah. Look at Joseph. The man was not in business, selling anything.
Yeah.
But he was a governor of a nation.
Yeah.
He secured many lives through that.
Yeah.
So where is God calling you? So don't get into business just because other people are getting into it. We have 2 categories of people. People who are in business to make money and others who are in business to lose money. Yes.
Do they know that they're in business to lose money?
That's the most unfortunate thing, because they you know, some of them have been sent out of their houses by their husbands. So there are people who are just setting businesses so that they can feel that they are doing something.
So
they are
that
busy.
You say, I'm a businessman.
I'm a business person, just for the title. Now, something else that people who are in employment need to know, because there are others who are stuck in employment, they're supposed to be in business. That one thing that they need to know is that between the employer and the employee, one is a pretender.
Okay.
Yes. One is pretending.
How?
Either as an employee, you are pretending how you are working hard, how you are, you want the business. But even if you are asked the vision of the company, you don't know. If you ask the mission of the company, you suffer from what you call CRA. Can't remember anything. You don't know anything about that company.
Oh, wow.
Again, there are some employers who keep shortchanging, shifting goals. I have talked that as Laban as a system of employment. Laban of the Bible. He kept, Jacob is saying, you have changed my wages 10 times.
Yeah. I think this one on employment, Joe, I'm going to have to call you back, because there's something here you have in this chapter, some observations by Harvard bring out interesting observations about if you're actually a good employee, about, you know, how people report to work. Some are stealing time and other things. There are others who are just there to maintain status quo. So maybe we're going to talk about how to be a good employee with you another day. But great points you've raised there too on employment, and even the observation you've made in the book that it is possible to build wealth even from employment. You talk about Jacob as well, whose wealth was actually from employment. But as we wrap up here, I want us to very quickly touch on monetizing our passions. How does one actually do that?
Now, when we talk about monetizing your passion, passion hangs on 2 things. Passion hangs, no, not even 2, 3. Passion hangs on giftings, talents, and skills. Basically, a skill is an educated passion. When you educate your passion, it's called skill. And only 2 people are allowed to appear before kings. Number 1, gifted people and skillful people. That's what actually even the Bible says. That says, thou a man diligent in his business. So when we talk about monetizing your passion, number 1, you must identify what is your passion. What is this thing that you love doing? What are you wired to do? What's this thing that excites you? Apart from that, you must now go to the next level where you educate it. You must educate your passion. Don't become an ignorant man. You'll never see a dangerous man, Joyce, as a gifted man who is not informed. He looked like just the lazy person. So you need now to get to know, to study the rules of engagement in your passion. Number 3, you must invest in your passion. Now, investing in your passion means now you buy the necessary toolbox.
Okay.
What do you need in your passion? If you are like, if you are a musician, what do you need? If you are a speaker like me, if you are a pastor, you cannot say that you are a passionate pastor, yet you keep working with Bible, with the Gideon International, the Kasmoro Bible. Arafu unakaweka mfuko, arafu unasema I'm international. You must buy the necessary, you must invest in good Bibles with concordance. Whichever area, if you are a business person, read business journals. Invest. If you are a saloonist, if you are a beautician, invest, read about beauty, study, do your research. You must invest in your passion. Then you must also be mentored. You must look for mentorship. You must look for mentorship. Look for mentorship. Get somebody who have gone ahead of you. Don't become the alpha and omega of everything. You cannot be told. They say that if you are too big to be taught, then you are too small to teach.
Wow.
So you must submit yourself under somebody who have gone ahead of you. A mentor introduces you in the thing that you want to do. Like if you are a musician, where the platforms that you are looking for, there are people who actually got bored. I've seen people who are in the music industry. They cannot even count the times their songs are played in the media. But there's another one, when the song is played once, it will be circulated everywhere. Because to them is a miracle. So how you need to connect to somebody who is doing very well. You need to connect to somebody who have gone ahead of you to introduce you.
Yeah.
To introduce you.
Hey, yeah. Joe, there are so many nuggets. Unfortunately, the time I have is not even enough for these nuggets, but I have some 3 winners. Remember, I already announced one. Jennifer from Kenyatta Road, your number starts with 0700, ends with 024. We're also going to award Daniel Nganga from Utawala, your number starts with 0722, ends with 934, and Jamo from Kangundo Road starts with 0729, ends with 402. I think there are people who are saying, even if I don't win the book, how can I get it? I need it in my hands.
All right. You can get the book through, maybe you can follow us on Facebook, Joe Wisdom Roa, or Wisdom Talks. You'll get a link there that will guide you on how you get the book.
Okay.
You can buy an ebook, an audiobook, or even a hard copy.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Joe. I look forward to seeing you again. We need to have that discussion on employment, I think. Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming and dropping such huge nuggets of wisdom. We really do appreciate you. With that said, guys, I do need to take a break as I get ready for my final segment. 22999 is the SMS line.